Okay, so we're going in, we're going live. We're just waiting for Facebook to catch up with us. And there we go. We are live in Facebook. So we'll just wait for the little picture to come up. I think we're there. It's just waiting a little while longer, I think everybody's on a Zoom right now. Yeah. Everywhere in the world. It's telling me it is live, but it isn't showing me the live video down the bottom. So if anybody is watching us right now, if you want to say hello, pop a question, or just say hi to me and Loretta, and then we know that you're with us. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on, and I'm just going to wait, and it might be a little bit of a delay in the actual connection. Whichever way we look at this, we'll have it live on YouTube and we'll bring it back here afterwards anyway. So today, it's a Monday. We've got a super full week. We've got so many experts that were valuably giving up their time. It's just so incredible. And we welcome for the first time, and hopefully not the last, Loretta Ferrucci. Is that how I say your surname?
Yep, that's correct.
Excellent. And Loretta is all the way over from South Africa. So we were just talking about this, we have gone truly global now. So that's absolutely amazing. And Loretta is going to be talking to us about all things anxiety and sleep. And we know we've covered this topic from some different experts, but I love the fact that this is coming tonight from somebody who's an expert, not purely in the psychology of this, but also from a homeopathic perspective, which is brilliant because we've not had this view on it. So before we go into any more detail of the interview, I just want to say thank you, Loretta. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you here. And I want to do you justice and introduce you because your bio is absolutely incredible. And I want everybody to recognize the level of expertise that you bring to this interview today. So thank you. So Dr. Loretta Ferrucci is a registered homeopath who's been in a private practice for 24 years. 24 years. She has recently closed her practice to focus on opening a homeopathic community clinic in East London, South Africa, and she also serves on the board of directors of the Cool and Natural Health Centre, a community initiative that aims to start community clinics throughout rural South Africa, treating patients with a homeopathic medicine. What an amazing vision and mission you have there. It's just incredible, Loretta. In addition, Loretta has a health and wellness coaching company called Your Ideal Body. Wouldn't we all like one of those? That teaches individuals and groups practical tools and techniques to obtain and maintain optimal health and high vitality so that they can live purposeful and inspiring lives. Her coaching methods focus primarily on lifestyle modification. That sounds so intriguing. Mind-body techniques and energy medicine to facilitate physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health. So there's so much of an overlap, Loretta. We have to have so many more conversations between the work that we do. But right now and right today, we're going to focus in on all of your expertise and your background and go deep on anxiety and specifically the topic of our group, helping the world sleep better. And so without further ado, Loretta, the first question I want to ask you is, how did you get into homeopathic medicine and this whole wellness and mind and body?
I had a condition that was similar to petit mal epilepsy when I was a child. I was about 3, and I'd had all the conventional tests and no one could find out what was wrong with me. And my mother took me to a homeopath and she managed to fix it. And so from that time onwards, that was the form of medicine that we had in our family home. My father was an allopathic supporter. He just wanted to take a pill to take the pain away. And my mother was the complementary medicine bunny. So she won in the end. As the women generally.
That's amazing. So when we talk specifically about sleep and homeopathy, where do you start? Where do you focus, Loretta? Where do you take people to?
So the basic tenet of homeopathy is that you want to actually find a remedy that matches the symptom picture of the entirety of the person. That's one of the things that makes homeopathy so unique. So a patient may come and say they have insomnia, but the questions that you ask are around their entire life. And you actually put together sort of a painting of their entire symptom picture and then match that to a single homeopathic remedy. So there are remedies that are notoriously good for sleep, but in true homeopathic philosophy, we actually are taking the whole person into account. And so you may get a completely different remedy because your insomnia may present differently together with a lot of different other symptoms than mine will. And that's the truly individualistic approach. All right? And so from a homeopathic point of view, what the remedy is doing is it's actually changing. It's true vibrational medicine, actually. It's resonating at a similar frequency to you, and it actually stimulates what the founder of homeopathy called the vital force. And when that vital force comes back into full resonance, then you have healing happening on a number of different levels. So that's also why the homeopathic remedy can be taken during the day, because it's not like a sleeping medicine. You know, you're not taking it specifically to make you sleep at night. You're taking it to complete the whole picture.
I love that. So that there's so many places I want to go with these questions for you. But in terms of resonance and vibration and that sort of thing, and we covered this with so many different people, but I love the fact that, like, we are 70% water. So of course there's going to be a vibrational frequency, and of course it's going to be unique to us and how we've our upbringing and how we've arrived to where we are today, and the physical and the mental. So I love anything that's treating the whole person, the whole environment. I love that. And just to take you one step further, Loretta, I would love to know, like, what normally presents to you. You know, when people come along and they say, oh, I'm having trouble sleeping, or this is my problem, what generally do you get asked? How can you help me?
Well, I must say, it depends on the kind of person. So, you know, you get people that I call straights. They've never really been exposed to energy medicine or complementary medicine, and they're desperate. So they often are the ones that come through the door. And then you get the people that are more habituated to it. So it all depends on who it is there. But basically, you know, the sort of conventional kind of patient who's got a first-time contact will just be, I can't sleep, and they generally have side effects from the sleeping medication. So they've tried conventional sleeping medication. It either doesn't work, or they have side effects, make them feel dull the next day, or it's not working well any longer. And now they're looking for a different solution. So I also, in my practice, if I can just digress a little bit, because it's something that I tell the viewers that they can practically start applying today, which it does not involve having to see a homeopath, is that, I mean, we know physiologically that our autonomic nervous system governs basically our entire physiology, and your autonomic nervous system governs all the automatic functions in your body, including the neurotransmitters that have to be produced that regulate day and night in the body and rhythm and all the rest. So when we are being challenged, then our sympathetic nervous system is active, which is the fight or flight mechanism if it goes into overwind. And when we're being supported, the parasympathetic nervous system is active. And those two parts of the autonomic nervous system need to be working optimally together. But the sympathetic is more active in the day, and the parasympathetic is more active at night. So what ends up happening is that when people are anxious, they very often go into, when anxiety becomes habitual, they go into a state that we call sympathetic dominance. So their sympathetic nervous system is dominating, their parasympathetic doesn't switch on properly, and because they're not turning it on, you know, consciously or unconsciously, they're unable to actually have the restorativeness of sleep. Also, when you're, you know, we think about our physiology, you know, we eat well, and the more you exercise, you know, you get into your body, it helps you sleep better, etc. And those things are 100% valid. However, we very seldom take care of our energy. And so people's energy is scattered. They're scattered in the past, it's scattered in amongst your family members, it's scattered with your conflicts that you haven't resolved. And when you're anxious, you tend to, I think of it sort of like a mirror that's shattered, you know, you tend to, you drop a glass full of water, it just splatters everywhere. And so one of the things that stops us from sleeping is because that energy is so outwardly scattered. And until we bring it in and we integrate it, we can't really have our parasympathetic nervous system activated enough to get us to drop off to sleep and to stay asleep, and therefore, wake rested the next day. So managing energy is really important. So the homeopathic medicine can certainly do that, but sometimes that takes a bit of time. So I do another modality in my practice called Jinshin Jitsu, and Jinshin Jitsu is a Japanese traditional healing art, which literally means the art of the creator through compassionate and knowing man. So it's the creator's gift to anyone who knows where to put their hands in care. So there's no special initiation. It's not religious. It doesn't interfere with anyone's spiritual beliefs. And it basically works on the premise that our hands have polarity. So your hands are like jumper cables. And when you put them on your flat battery terminals, you actually manage to get your battery to recharge. And so I teach patients very simple Jinshin Jitsu self-help techniques that invariably, if they apply them before they go to bed, it very often helps them to drop off. And if they wake up in the middle of the night, they do it again, and very often it helps them to go back to sleep. So I found that combination of the homeopathic remedy together with the Jinshin Jitsu is really, really valuable.
Can you just spell that for everybody who's watching?
That's a bit of a mouthful, right? It's J-I-N,
yes.
A second word, S-H-I-N,
yes.
Third word, J-Y-U-T-S-U. Jinshin Jitsu.
Wow. We're definitely live. We have got people watching, and we haven't got any comments yet, Loretta, but I'm asking the questions on their behalf because I'm going, wow, I have to look this up myself. This sounds incredible. So before we go into, I'm just loving how this is working. So the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, it makes so much sense when people are talking about, in yoga, and that was sort of like the end of yoga. This is what we want to engage and we want to connect to. So specifically from a homeopathic perspective, what are the tips? Obviously, things take time. So this is like it's a new habit that we're helping them to create, isn't it?
In strict homeopathic philosophy, so the founder of homeopathy did a little bit of history. His name was Samuel Hahnemann, and he wrote a definitive text called the Organon of Medicine. And this organon has paragraphs. They call them aphorisms. And in fact, before he even gets to how to prescribe a remedy, or how do you choose a remedy, or what remedy do you give, one of the earliest aphorisms in that book is, you first have to remove the obstacles to cure. So the premise is that you're not relying on the medication, because if, for example, someone lives in a moldy basement and they have a chronic respiratory allergy or an ailment because of the mold, you have to get them away from the mold, right? So the obstacles to cure would be all those lifestyle impediments. So that's why it is important. It's important what you eat. It isn't, if you're living on stimulants, it's very difficult for your parasympathetic nervous system to switch on. It is important that you move effectively. It's important that you stay well hydrated. You mentioned mostly water. It's important that the health of your relationships are sound. Because if you're living in an environment where there's lots of conflict, or you have internal conflict, even if your environment's not conflicted, or you have conflict with another person, then you're activating your sympathetic nervous system. So homeopathy is so much more than prescribing the remedy. It really is. That's why in my bio you said lifestyle modifications. It's really about, what are the obstacles to cure? Because you have to remove those, and the more you remove those, the more likely you are to actually have the remedy do what it's supposed to do. So homeopathic remedies are not magic. They can help you. Actually, they can help you remove the obstacles to cure.
Yes.
But if you're living in an extremely toxic environment, for example, I find it difficult to believe that a homeopathic remedy is going to make a massive shift, because we actually have to be working on all levels. So homeopathically speaking, we have to remove those obstacles to cure. And for a lot of people, that's quite difficult, because changing habits is not easy. And that's where the Jinshin Jitsu comes in as well, because it actually puts the power in their hands. It allows them to actually work on themselves. So they're not, in complementary medicine, just as in Western medicine, people often give their power away. They make the doctor or the homeopath or the guru or the teacher or whoever it is, they give their power to that person. And in actual fact, part of the healing is about taking your power back. And that's why I find the Jinshin Jitsu so powerful, because it's so easy. You can give it to children to do. People who are illiterate, you just have to show them how to do it. So you don't need it.
So great.
You don't really need any special gift or skill. You just need hands.
Yes. So if there was one or two special things that everybody in our community could try tonight for, I'm not going to say it right, Jinsitsu.
JSJ. Just say JSJ. It's so much easier.
JSJ. Love an
JSJ.
acronym. JSJ. So if we were to try a couple of things tonight, and use me as your guinea pig, just, tell me, instruct me as you need to. What are two really simple things we could do?
So one of the most effective ones is really, really easy. It's called the Jinshinjutsu Big Hug. So yeah, you just need to, we need to see this upper part of our chest, right, to be able to show the view. So you take your, what's this, my left hand, you cross it over your chest and you put your thumb on the chest and you have your fingers underneath your armpit, right? Okay. And where your fingers are resting on the tip of that latissimus dorsi muscle, that's actually what we call the safety energy lock that you want to be holding. And then you do the same with the opposite hand. So you basically cross your hands over your chest as if you literally are giving yourself a big hug. So this can be done in a seated position with your legs uncrossed, or it can be done lying down also with your legs uncrossed. So this is a perfect thing to do while you're lying in bed, especially it's getting cold here now in the evening. So we're sort of under the duvet. And when you're doing this, you are connecting yourself to what we call in Jinshinjutsu the sixth depth. So the sixth depth is the depth on which our blueprint, that energy body, that's where it lives. So this particular exercise, it's a breathing exercise, I'll tell you the rest of it now, is designed to integrate all that scattered energy. Because funny, ironically, if we don't have enough energy, we can't go to sleep. Yes. We tend to think that when we're exhausted, we need to go to sleep to get energy. But when the energy is all over the shop, we can't actually get to sleep. So if you sit in the Jinshinjutsu position, you close your eyes and you just focus on your breathing. So you don't try and change the breath. You don't try and deepen the breath. You just relax your shoulders, drop into your shoulders, tuck your chin in so that your spine is straight, and then just focus on your breathing. So an inhalation and an exhalation is one cycle. And you just repeat this for 9 cycles. Now, if you get lost along the way, because you can't remember where you were in the counting, you have to start again. And if you can do 9 cycles, then you move on to doing 80. And once you've done 80...
80?
No, 18. So actually we're aiming for 36. But we can do it in cycles of 9. So 9 is enough to actually, it might not be enough to get you to sleep, but it'll certainly be enough to get you calm during the day when you're having a moment, for example. So
this feels lovely.
It's a question of practice. And it's you giving it to yourself, it's the Jinshinjutsu Big Hug. So ideally 36, one of the what is her name? She brought Jinshinjutsu from Japan to the West. Her name was Mary Burmeister, and one of her famous quotes was, 36 aware and conscious breaths is all we require for perfect health, wealth, and happiness.
Love that.
So if we can just practice to stay in the breath for those 36 breaths, it usually takes between 5 and 7 minutes. And very often people fall asleep halfway through. That's also okay. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, you do it again.
With your arms under your
Exactly, right? So you just do it again if you wanted to help you drop off to sleep. It's a great exercise to do before you sleep, and it's a great exercise to do before you wake up in the morning. Because when you've been sleeping, your etheric forces have been somewhat scattered. So you bring yourself back into integration before you head into your day.
Love that.
So this is
something
like
very easy for children to do as well, isn't it, Loretta?
That's what I love about Jinshinjutsu. So I use this in the rural clinics where we're working with people who don't speak English and who are not necessarily literate. And Jinshinjutsu can be as simple as this or as simple as holding a finger. So in Jinshinjutsu, all the organs occur in couples like they do in Chinese medicine. And the couples have a coupled emotional attitude. So in all Oriental medicine systems, the mind and the body and the emotions are not separated. So the same in Jinshinjutsu, and all those organs and the related emotions or attitudes are represented on the fingers. So the index finger, holding it is literally just this. Okay, so no pressure, no squeezing, just holding with awareness. So when you hold the index finger, your index finger is associated with the bladder and kidney organ function energy, And the attitude or emotion is subconscious or unconscious fear. So again, you could hold the finger and just focus on the breathing. You don't have to, you can hold the finger while you're watching TV if you want to, but obviously the more focused your attention is, the more likely you are to get a better result. So holding your finger for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes is probably about the optimal, because it takes about 20 minutes for energy to go through all the organ functions in the body. But if you can do it for 2 minutes, 3 times a day, that also, it doesn't matter. It's an art. It's not a technique. So this is a great one for kids as well. The fingers are wonderful for children. I've used it so much in my practice. I always say to them, okay, when you're in the car, which finger are you going to hold? This one, okay, or whichever one they've got to hold. And then when they come back, I said, have you been holding it? Absolutely. When I watch TV, when I'm in the car, and before I go to sleep at night. So they also help to empower themselves that way. It's a very beautiful art.
Incredible. Loretta, we could speak for hours. We could speak for hours. We haven't got any questions or comments. We do have people watching. I don't know where you're from. If you would like to ask any question of Loretta before we finish up for this evening, please post your comments below. If you're watching this afterwards and we're not live, please put #replay and tag Loretta and myself with your question. Or if you've tried any of this, if you've tried this, if you've tried this, and you found it started to have a positive impact for you, then please let us know. We'd both love to know. And Loretta, just before we let you go, because gosh, we've crammed so much into this short session today, is there one last thing that you would like to leave with our audience here in Helping the World Sleep Better, to just say, if you try this and it doesn't work, or if you try this and it does work, do this instead?
Okay, let's just give that a little bit of thought. Do this. Well, I'd like to start by saying that, you know, everything you want is on the other side of your fear. And the fear is essentially where the anxiety is, okay? So just know that everything you want is just on the other side, not 100 miles away, just on the other side of your fear. So if, for example, you've tried the big hug or you've tried the homeopathic remedy and it hasn't worked, then I would suggest that what you do is you combine that with a more conscious form of breathing, where you keep your inhale normal and you extend your exhalation, because your exhalation activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So that way, this is not true Jinshin Jitsu. So all those Jinshin Jitsu people out there, please don't crucify me, because in Jinshin Jitsu, we just focus on the breath normally, but you can actually do a normal inhalation and a long, slow, controlled exhalation. You can do this with or without the Jinshin Jitsu, actually, because that actively stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest, digest, reproduce, and restore part of your autonomic nervous system.
Beautiful. Loretta, Janet has just joined us and she says she absolutely loves this session. She can really connect with it. Thank you so much, Loretta. Absolutely echo my words, Janet. It's been fascinating. Loretta, we're going to have you back. We're going to have you back.
Anytime.
We'll have a chat afterwards and see if we can get into your busy calendar. Thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully we'll be talking to you really, really soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Loretta.